Treasurer, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it here at News 13. Let's just start with the basics of why we're meeting in the first place today. Tell me about what you're able to explain to Cashflow to the State Council today.
Sure. So as you know, in December, Senate Bill 382 was passed over the governor's veto to allow material relief to the western part of the state. One piece of that was a $100 million cash flow loan program to the affected communities for disaster recovery. It is a very short piece of legislation, less than half a page. So it's left a little bit to our imagination as to how we put that together. So it took office 34 days ago, and this was an immediate priority. I was advised by many to drop this hot potato because the truth is there's no adequate response to the scale of devastation out west. And I thought the right thing to do was to put this program in place as fast as we could, rather than trying to deflect, which is the advice I got. So we set about that, hired Jeff, I guess 16 days ago or so. And we are in the position to get these loans out to the affected communities by the end of February. A lot of work has gone into that. A lot of consultation with the county commissioners and the league municipalities, with local elected officials and other people in the government. We have turned a loan agreement at this point. We have an allocation methodology that we think is third party and fair. And we've built a lot of other financial infrastructure to allow us to get those monies out to the affected communities. It is only $100 million, and it does need to be a loan program, which is one of the challenges of setting it up. The last time the state built a loan program like this, it took almost 4 months. We're going to do it in about 7 weeks. And so we're proud of the efforts that Jeff and his team, the rest of the Department of State Treasury, have put into this.
And you said as fast as we could, and it is $100 million of that portion of 382, but yet it is February, and this happened months ago, and there were a lot of people, both in these local governments and just everyday people, probably wondering what took so long. So what did take that time for it to be now and not sooner?
Sure. So the legislation was passed in late December, as you may know. So that's the first thing, is the legislation has to be passed. Second, I took office January 1st. So I did that as well. And then we have to build a loan program. Loan programs require loan agreements, require covenants, require consents of the local municipality. So there's a lot of red tape, frankly, that get in your way of putting a loan out that would not be the case if it were a grant. These are structured as loans for good reason, I'm sure. We're administering it as we were told. And like I say, we're going to do it in well less than half the time the state did this last time. So we're proud of that effort. But yeah, wish it was yesterday, wish it were bigger, all those things. As I said, there's no answer to the devastation that's adequate. And we're just trying to do the best we can with the small part we have.
I would add that it's our understanding that not all of the municipalities and counties and perhaps tribes have their damage assessments in. And so it's kind of, if we didn't put a deadline in there, which we felt like we had to do, we would not know all the needs that we need to try to fill. So we didn't come in with good cost estimates. Let's put it that way. So, and some of them may have been ready to go, but not all of them.
Sure. And I imagine that you both spoke to it. It's not a situation that you'll ever maybe possibly cross again. So when you talk about how this took half the time, I guess I'm hoping and asking you to maybe speak a little bit more to maybe some of the steps or how you were able to speed up that process as much as you could. Maybe some steps that in other situations like this would take more time, but in this one, you had to do what you had to do.
Sure. So I'd say two things. First, hiring Jeff was a really big part of it. His expertise in municipal finance has been invaluable and has helped us with that. And then second, design features. We have designed this to be replicable, to be opt-out rather than opt-in. And so let me explain that, because I think that cut a lot of time off the timeline. A normal loan program would go out with a loan application, would give you, the municipality, some time to fill it out, would receive those loan applications, process them individually, and then get proceeds out months later. And that's what we've seen. We've designed it inverse of that. This is an opt-out program. So we have a standard loan agreement. We will allocate you money based on the good faith estimates that we're getting around proportional damages to the affected counties. And you will have an option as a municipality to either take the loan or not. And by simplifying the process, by getting rid of the application process and really setting it up as to whether you want the zero cost loan or not, you're able to cut a lot of time off it. Unfortunately, I'll disagree with you. I wish that this wasn't going to happen again in the future, but I think unfortunately we see that these natural disasters do with some frequency, and we need to be ready as a state with a best-in-class solution to that when it does.
I would add one thing is that the League of Municipalities and the Association of County Commissioners, they've been through some of, maybe not the exact disaster we have here, but they have been through the hurricanes and the COVID relief, and they had some strong feelings on how we should do it and kind of coalesce that onto our plan. So there was not a lot of political infighting among those two organizations on how to do it. We coalesced pretty quickly with the interest, I don't want to call them interest groups, but the representative groups. And that was very helpful. And so they have been very helpful.
And so now that this is going through and now that this cash flow is going to make its way where it needs to, between working with the local governments to make sure that, you know, that transfer happens, between that and just the process after that, what I guess comes next from your office, from your standpoint and position as treasurer to continue to help these people? I know this is just this is one task down, but what happens now in your eyes?
Well, now that we've built the rails, so to speak, and we're ready to put more trains on those rails, I hope that we're asked to do that. But that is, of course, a legislative decision in conjunction with the governor. Legislation will need to be passed to send money down these rails. We are ready, willing, and able if they choose to go that route. There's a whole FEMA anticipation conversation to happen as well. As we know, FEMA is not as punctual as other organizations. They do show up, but they do show up a little later than most. And so there's a conversation around bridging people to a better outcome that is much larger than the $100 million here. And we're happy to be part of that as well. That might take the form of debt issuance at the state level in anticipation of FEMA proceeds. You've seen similar programs in place in Florida and Louisiana and other places that unfortunately have experience in these matters. And so that's a conversation ongoing as well that the Treasurer's Department will be part of as well.
I think that's everything I was hoping to touch on and get to. Is there anything either one of you would like to add that you feel is significant in this conversation that we didn't get to?
Other than the obvious, I mean, the devastation out west is tremendous. We all know that. We are happy to play a small part in the recovery here. I wish we could do more. And we will do everything we possibly can, but we're only a piece of the puzzle in solving some of the challenges out there.